This week we are going to be using a few different websites to talk about careers in training and development. The first one is from the Association for Talent Development, and this is, I guess, one of the national bodies for training and development. They have their own members, they have different certifications available, different things you can do in the field of training and development. And I came across this article on their website talking about whether or not training and development is the right career choice for you. So let's take a look at it. I think a lot of people enjoy teaching. And instead of maybe teaching at the middle or high school level, they want to teach in a different environment. And through training and development, you can. Through training and development, you'll be teaching adult learners content that is hopefully relevant to them and helps them with their job or helps them become more qualified for jobs they are seeking. So what type of skills should we possess if we want to go into training and development? The number one is communication skills. Yes, there is a push towards more of a use of technology, but we still need those communication skills. We still need to be able to interact with each other. We still need to be able to have excellent writing skills. Even if you are developing a online training program, you still have to be able to write that out in a clear and easy way so that people can understand. I've come across that issue several times in an online course where I know what I want to say, but how can I put it into the words so that people can understand? And going back to the graduate assignment is a perfect example where obviously I miscommunicated what was expected and several of you thought you had that assignment to do. So there's a perfect example where communication skills are important, making sure that something is easy to follow. You also need good interpersonal skills. You must have those people skills. You have to be able to listen and understand. So much of teaching is listening. Imagine if you are a teacher and an individual has a problem. You have to be able to listen to their situation, figure out what their problem is, and then also be able to determine how best to solve that problem. It's important to be creative. If you look at some of the content we've gone over this semester, there is no one way to develop a training and development program. There are guidelines, there are instructional design models that we need to, we can follow, but at the end of the day, we have to be creative in creating this content. A perfect example, think of even some of the teachers you've had here at Emporia State. Some of the classes you probably enjoyed more than others, and it may come down to something that's just being creative and trying different strategies to engage students. Planning and attention to detail is huge. As we've seen throughout the semester, looking at the different instructional design models, they're very organized, very planned, very detailed, and that is important when you're developing these programs to ensure every step of the process is there to make sure that the learner is actually learning the technology and that it's also being transferred back to their workplace. And then you also need technology skills. Being able to use different technologies, being able to adapt to new technologies is important. And do you need to know Camtasia? Do you need to know web design? It would be nice, but at the same time, more than anything, you need to be able to learn those technologies in a relatively short amount of time. So you need to be savvy. You need to be able to pick up new technologies and adjust them and try different technologies in those programs is important. So as we keep going down, it talks about some of the personality traits, and again, those are somewhat open to debate. It goes into the potential growth, and it talks about this occupational outlook, and that's the next website we're going to look at, and they do a really good job going into more detail about what type of careers are available. You all may remember the Occupational Outlook Handbook from high school where you'd be required to go look up a specific career at some point during one of your business courses. And it was a great tool back then, and it's also a good tool here to look at the training and development management profession. They do a good job of providing an overview, talking a little bit about what they do, the work environment, how to become one, pay, and job outlook, which are all critical components to determine whether or not this is the career for you. So if we look at the median pay is excellent. Obviously with that there's going to be a lot of competition, and there's also going to be a lot of stress, a lot of pressure to succeed. So keep that in mind. Although I would argue in any profession, if you're going to be successful, there's going to be competition, there's going to be stress. It just kind of comes with the territory. So let's take a look at what they do. And a lot of this we have seen firsthand throughout the semester as you've read through the different chapters of what they do. Again, you design training and development programs. But it's not that simple. We have to take a look at a company and determine whether or not they need that training and then go from there. It's interesting in training and development because what is more valuable, the education or the knowledge of being a training and developer, or the content? The book would argue that you need someone knowledgeable in training and development to work with that subject matter expert. But sometimes you'll see that in a job posting that they are looking for someone who is a subject matter expert and in training and development. But it is good to at least have the skills in training and development, and you can work on the knowledge in any particular area. So when we talk about the work environment, something we've touched on as well, the idea that more and more of this training and development is online. And in doing so, you're not necessarily tied to a workstation in an office. There's a lot more flexibility as far as working from home, working from different environments, which I definitely think is a benefit for this field. So you have that opportunity to go out to a work site to develop your working or your training and development program, and you're not stuck in that office. Then it talks a little bit about how you can become one, a little bit about the education. It is interesting, there are not many training and development degrees out there. So a lot of people that want to go into this field either come from education where they were a business ed teacher or some other teacher and they enjoy the teaching aspect but maybe not that environment. Or they come from business and it's just something that they're interested in. They take that business background and go into it. There are certifications you can get. It's debatable how beneficial they are. And again, they go back to some of the important qualities, and a lot of that we've talked about here throughout the semester. Going to the pay, as I said, the pay is extremely good for that position. Again, remember that's a median salary, so if you go into this field, you probably aren't going to start at $105,000, but the potential is there to make a good living. And the other good thing is that it is increasing. The number of jobs are increasing, so there's certainly some options available out there. The biggest thing is to mold yourself into someone who would be a desirable candidate in the training and development field. Lastly, I want to touch on a career in instructional design or becoming an instructional designer. It is a field that is closely tied to training and development, but there are differences. With an instructional designer, it's a lot more technology-based, I would argue. And what you're really doing, you're more behind the scenes. You're the one creating the content. You're the one creating the material. You're going to follow those instructional design models, practices, methods, whatever, more than likely whatever the employer wants. And companies do have these, but they also are some independent contractors. Perfect example of a instructional designer position would be here at Emporia State or in higher education. I'd say all higher education institutions have instructional designer positions. And what you do in those positions, you're going to go out and you're going to design curriculum, with teachers, or with instructors. So those instructors would be the subject matter experts, and you would work with them to design curriculum. You would take your knowledge of, let's say, the learning management system or Canvas, and design curriculum for them. And you think about using different technologies and how to engage these students in an online environment. With the rise in online training and development and education, there is a huge need for these individuals, people that can design a course, design content that can be delivered online. With that being said, there is a definite need for people in this position to have certain technological skills to do so. It may be developing a web page, it may be being able to create effective videos or use animation, whatever it may be. It is important in this position, and you're certainly seeing a trend of more and more of these positions as the technology increases and people's demand for online instruction continues. So it is another option through training and development. There are programs offered in this. Emporia State has, I know they have a master's degree in instructional design. I'm not sure about an undergraduate degree. So pairing a training and development with instructional design would be one option. Our master's here in business education has a focus on training and development where you learn some of these instructional designer skills and also the training and development skills as well. So it is a good way to go if you're more into the technological side, more the background side, and developing content that can be delivered online.